How you going, people? Figured I would talk about informants. Got a couple questions on different types of informants, and we'll just talk about them. So there's different levels of informants in police work. An informant can be anybody that calls 911. You can have anonymous informants. When you get an anonymous informant, to rely on that information, you have to have extra circumstances or extra articulable suspicion or articulable facts to justify why you believe that. So if I call in 911 and go, there is drugs in Rick's car. Well, that's not enough to search my car, to go get a warrant. We had an anonymous tip that there was drugs in the car. We'd like a warrant, Your Honor. No, that ain't enough. You need more than that. Now, if the caller calls in and says, hey, I was in Rick's truck. He has something in his glove box. He has something in his seat. He carries this in the back, which most people would know if they watch my videos, so they could probably say all this. And when I was inside the car, he opened a glove box and I saw a bag of white powder. And when I said, what's that? He said, it's illegal, you don't want to get involved. And he shut the door. Now, most informants aren't going to be that technical or detailed if they're trying to be anonymous, because they know I'm going to know who was in my car. If I call in a bomb threat at a school, if I call a school and go, hey, there's a bomb, it's going to go off at noon. Because of the seriousness of that, they can't go search someone's house on that, but they can take necessary safety steps to evacuate the school, shut down the school, search the school for a bomb. Because they're not searching for a person based on an anonymous tip, they're searching for public safety. So is that an informant? Maybe. I mean, it is. They're informing the government. The question that I got there's a guy who was an informant, supposedly runs around town, and he commits all these crimes, and he violates his probation, and he's a child molester, and the cops never do nothing to him because he's an informer. You're getting more into, if cops are doing things, or the DA's office is cutting a deal and not prosecuting and protecting somebody because they're an informant, you're getting into a different level of informant. If I'm doing a search warrant, I can say that somebody told me this, somebody told me this, and these two facts combined with what I know of this gives me probable cause and I can get a warrant. But I'm not getting the warrant based on the unconfirmed or just anonymous tip or informant that hasn't been reliable. It doesn't mean that I can't get it. It depends on my experience and training, how I articulate it, and how the facts that I'm expressing to the judge to get this warrant, how much this informant makes it believable or not believable, and how much my training and experience makes it believable. If I want to run an informant, usually to like give immunity and to start things, technically, I mean, I don't have to, but technically you should go through the DA. The DA should do a letter, and the DA agrees that if he cooperates, he won't be charged with a crime he committed, he won't be sent prison, we won't seek prison term for the crime that he agrees maybe to plead guilty to. So there's a formal contract between an informant. If I'm going to use this person to go out and buy guns or buy dope and commit illegal acts, as my agent, as a government agent, we agree not to prosecute him on some previous things. No informant gets a get-out-of-jail-free pass that if you inform on us, you can go out and commit crimes and we will not prosecute you. That doesn't happen officially. Does it happen? And I might have told a crazy cop story, I don't know if I did or not, where I pulled over this guy. He was on his way to meet with one of our detectives on a drug bust because he was going to be their informant, and he had a suspended license, and he wasn't supposed to be driving, and he was acting all nervous, and he immediately says, I work for, I can't remember the guy's name, I don't know who he told me, but I knew he was on the drug task force, and I went, you work for him, huh? Yeah, man, I work for him, man. You gotta let me go. I was just gonna go. I was gonna go work for him, and man, you gotta let me go, man. And I'm like, so I didn't have to let him go. I could have towed his car and arrested him. I don't remember if he had a warrant or something. And again, I let people go with warrants all the time. If they were a misdemeanor warrant, I didn't really care. If they weren't a violent or a threat to somebody, I didn't care. I would just tell them, hey, man, you got a warrant. Any cop can arrest you. You better go take care of it. Next time they're going to take you to jail. I don't really want to deal with taking you to jail. I'd rather catch somebody who's committing better crimes than your poo-butt misdemeanor. So I'd let him go. But this guy, if I would have let him go anyway, he didn't know I'd let him go because I had BS charges. He didn't know that, so I made it seem like I was going to arrest him, and I gave the detective the ability to work him or to seem like that detective helped him out. I helped their experience or their trust grow, and he believed the detective. Now, cops will tell an informant anything. Yo, man, you do this, don't worry about it, blah, blah. They can tell him anything, but it doesn't hold any water. If I catch somebody committing a crime, it is up to me whether I arrest them or not. Nobody's going to come and go, you need to let this guy go. Now, maybe if there's some lieutenant on a drug task force and your task force is run by your agency and lieutenant is in your chain of command and the lieutenant says don't arrest him, you might let him go, but you would win if you didn't and say, no, that's an unlawful order. You can't override the law. You can't tell me to let somebody go. I'm arresting him. You want to let him go, go sign him out of jail, and then you take care of it. So in this question, was this guy running around committing crimes and he was working and they never prosecuted him and he got away with all this? I don't believe that. What was happening is the cops and the locals knew that he was a valuable asset and they were overlooking his crimes, and it was not part of an official deal with the DA or government that says, if you work for us, you can go out and do anything you want and don't worry about it, you won't get arrested. That's never cut. And, there's been situations where a guy said, I work for somebody, and man, you got to call Detective so-and-so, and it was in another jurisdiction. I think he worked for some SAC PD detective or something, and I don't remember what I caught him doing, but I was like, I don't give a shit who you work for, you're going to freaking jail. And I booked him, and I didn't care, and I didn't even contact the guy, because the guy was involved in something, and again, I can't remember what it was, but I remember just saying, I don't give a shit, So it's the officer's discretion on whether or not he wants to work with the other cop, and whether the other cop can say, when I call this cop that I stopped the guy, I go, dude, man, you know this guy? And he goes, yeah, man, what do you do? I go, he's fucking driving out of spin, driving like an idiot. And I said, I think he's got a little weed in the car. And he goes, fuck, man. I said, do you want me to hook him or what? And he goes, no, man, I can still use him, man. He goes, if you let him go, I'd appreciate it. But it wasn't like, you need to let him go and don't arrest him. It was kind of like, man, I can use him. Tell him to call me or come see me when you let him go, and then I'll chew him out, and I can probably manipulate him or milk him a little bit to where he feels like he owes me now because I got him out of this. So I said, all right, I don't give a shit. It's poo butt to me. I didn't care. So, I went back to the guy, and I made it seem like it was a big deal. I go, dude, you're freaking lucky you know him. I said, if it wouldn't be for him, your ass would be going to jail. I'd be arresting you for blah, blah, blah. And, I gave him all this poo-butt shit that he was like, oh, shit, man, thank you. And I said, don't thank me. You better think that you're freaking, detective that you're working for, because if it wasn't for him, you'd be going to jail. So in his mind, he was like, oh, man, I really owe this guy now. And hopefully he would deliver some other bad guy down the road for this. Is that legal? I mean, look, cops have discretion. The Supreme Court ruled cops have no duty to protect. We don't have to give you service. We don't have to protect you. We don't have to chase bad guys. That's why in another crazy cop story I did, where I was in front of this house and I saw the kid that was abducted in this house, but the person that wanted the kid back was worse than where the kid was at, and I didn't really want to enforce the court order. And I was like, shit. So I called the DA, the actual DA, and I go, hey, I work for you. I don't want to get you in shit. And I said, I'm sitting here outside this house. I know there's a crime ongoing. I know this kid isn't supposed to be where it's at. It's with her mom. But I went and I checked on the kid, and she's making straight A's, and she's doing a great job, and the house is clean, and there's no problem with her being there. And the guy who's got the court order is being a jerk, and he's a doctor, and he's got some weight, and he's intimidating the kid, and when he's got the kid, he locks her in a room, and he's trying to brainwash her with this freaking cult bullshit, and he's really affecting this child, and I don't feel good about taking this child from a good environment and giving it to a bad environment. But I said, technically it's against the law. I said, what do I do? He's like, oh, just go down to the jail and book yourself in for committing a crime, Gorp. I go, that didn't help. I said, do I take the kid or not? He goes, the only time cops get in trouble is when they act. When cops don't act and do nothing, they can't get sued. And that stuck with me like a double-edged sword, because it was like, that's really great that now I don't have to do anything and I can't get in trouble, but it's really bad when I know bad things are going on and I have the ability to look away and do nothing, and that's not what I was getting paid to do, and that's not why I was a cop. So, informants are one of those things that there's good and bad. They really help. Sometimes you got to make deals with the devil, and DAs love to get in front of a jury and blame it on, I work with bad people and I had to make this deal with this felon, and I know you're not going to like it, but the wind's picking up, of course, because I started filming. But anyway, informants, nobody gets a get out of jail free card because you're an informant. Cops may let a guy go, they may look the other way, they may use their discretion and say get out of here because he's cooperating, but there's no mandatory get out of jail. If a citizen calls and wants to commit a crime, if an informant hits somebody and the citizen goes, I want this person arrested, I'm pressing charges, there's no discretion. Cops have to arrest, we have a victim, they can make a citizen's arrest turn over to us. We have to make a choice of either releasing them for no probable cause or not, and then we get in trouble if we start taking actions to protect this guy against a victim's rights. So there's this way game. That's my deal on informants. Are they good or bad? Hey, yin and yang. There's good and bad in all, and it depends on the cop who's working them, the DA who's cutting a deal. Who's he catching? Are we going after? The ends justify the means. If an informant can give up a bad enough guy that the government really wants, they'll cut any kind of deal. Look at Hillary. 30,000 emails destroyed, committing major crimes against our secrecy and top secret information, releasing, not storing it properly. Look the other way because the government didn't want her. But look at Trump. 2 years, $70 million, whatever the hell they're spending on the damn investigation, still going after him over something that never happened, over a fake dossier about some Russian hooker peeing on a bed. And they've spent millions in 2 years of trashing the guy. The government can do what they want. That case, government doesn't have to protect you. If that doesn't open people's eyes about why gun control is bad and when government only has guns, you are going to be nothing but a victim looking for a place to happen. Either a victim of criminals or a victim of government. But that's my deal on informants. We'll end that there.